All right, so today we're going to be looking at discussion boards. So to add a discussion board, we're going to add it just like we've added our other things into our modules by clicking the plus button. Then go to the add section, and we're going to go down to discussion. So discussion boards are going to be places where you could pose a prompt or a question or something like that, and students can type a reply to it and then reply to each other's. It is exactly how it sounds. So let's say this is example discussion. Item, and it's there. So by default, it is unpublished because typically if you make something, you want to edit it before your students can see it. So we'll go ahead and click in, and we're going to need to hit the edit button because right now it's completely blank and there's nothing going on with it. So you've got the title up here again, which you can change if you hit the wrong thing. You've got the same text box here that we do for pages. You've got all the same options as well. You could change your text, put different links, pictures, media in there, add things from Google Drive, whatever it is that's going to suit your discussion. So let's say for this one, discuss the symbolism in Romeo and Juliet, assuming that's how you spell Juliet. Don't judge me if it's spelled wrong because it's probably spelled wrong. Anyway, so this is what students are going to see. They're going to need to know that they need to discuss the symbolism. Then you've got a few options. So first off is post to. So you can choose who or which of your sections are going to see this. So this is really only going to be an option if either you create sections, which is a bit more of an advanced thing, or if you've combined your classes together. At the beginning of every year, Amanda Moody sends out directions on how to combine all of your core sections for the year. So if you followed those and all of your, let's say, English 1 classes are just in one Canvas course, when you click here, you'll see the different hours pop up under there. Since this is my sandbox, I only have the one section in there, so that's all that we're going to see there. But you have the option, if you wanted to split this up by hour, you could do it that way. You also have an attachment here that you can put in. That's really no different than if you were to upload a document from here. It just puts it in a slightly different place. So it's up to you if you want to use that or if you'd rather use the one in the bar up top. Down here, this checkbox, allow threaded replies. So the default, and I'll show you what this means here in a bit, but the default for discussion boards is you'll post the question, a student or you can reply to it, and then people, if they want to, can reply once to that reply. So you get one reply to the main board, and then students can reply one thing off of that, but then that's it. If you do threaded replies, students can reply to somebody else's reply. They can reply to a reply of a reply, where somebody could say, I think the sky is blue. Then somebody else says, no, it's green because of this. And somebody says, no, you're wrong, it's actually blue. And it keeps the conversation going. So if you're wanting to have a more complex or robust conversation, you may want to allow the threaded replies. If you want to keep it simple and easy, leave that unchecked. Users must post before seeing replies. So this requires students to make a post before they can see what all of their peers have said. This is a great way to keep students from just simply copying and pasting what other people have said. Makes them think a little bit more before they go to Google and copy paste whatever Google says. Enable podcast feed, that's pretty advanced. Won't mess with that. Graded, that's probably something that you're going to want to check. So a few things are going to happen when you hit the graded box. So the sections up here are going to go away because there's a new spot for them. So sections are gone. And the assign section, we'll get there in a second. The other thing that went away is there's this option for add to student to do. Because if you have it as a graded assignment, this means that students have to do it. If you just click this box, it's not going to be graded for students, but you're telling them, oh, hey, this needs to get done just as a thing that needs to happen. So if you don't care about them getting a grade for it, you just want them to do it, you may want to click this add student to do, and then you can add when you want them to do it by and the date there. But if you want to actually take this for a grade, hit that graded button. I'm going to continue on through the graded section because that's normally what most of us are going to do. And then allow liking. You can let people like comments. You can choose to only let the graders like comments to keep the kids from going crazy with their likes. Group discussion. That's a little more advanced. If you want to delve into that, that will basically let you either automatically or manually pick groups where students will only have discussions within those groups. So if you want them to have small group discussions over Canvas, this is how to do that. With virtual learning, that would be a great tool, but with in-person, it's definitely a lot less powerful. Same with discussion boards in general, but if you ever want to do them in class or do them as a homework assignment and then do something else in class, discussion boards are here for that. Anyway, points possible. Make it how many points you want. Let's make it 9 points because why not? Display grade as. I always leave this as points personally. You can change it to display it as a percentage instead, complete or incomplete. So it's basically all or nothing. A letter grade, so it gives them like A, B, C, D, B plus, A minus, or GPA scale. But really, probably the top 3 are going to be the only ones that you would realistically want to do. Sync to SIS. If you're grading this, it probably means that you want to put it into the gradebook. If you do, make sure you check that box. That way, whenever you go to the student information system, all you have to do is click the Sync to Canvas button, find the assignment, push the button, and boom, it's going to update all the grades, import the assignment, all that good stuff. If you leave it unchecked, it's not going to show up in SIS. So maybe if you want to threaten students that it's for a grade, but it's actually not, you could leave that box unchecked. Assignment group. So Canvas automatically has some assignment groups posted. You can decide to make your own. You might want to make your own either if A, you don't like the assignment groups that are there, or B, whenever you go to import them into SIS, SIS only has those certain assignment groups available that you have available to check. So let's say I teach science. So let's say I wanted this to be a lab assignment. So in Canvas, it's marked as lab. So I need to spell it exactly as it is in SIS, which is lab. So we'll hit the add group and it's there. You could do the same thing with tests or quizzes, participation, any of those assignment categories in SIS, just make sure it matches exactly and it'll automatically do it. If you forget to do that, it's a very simple, quick thing to just hit there's a drop down box whenever you go to import them in, and you can get it done there. It just saves you a little tiny bit of hassle. Peer reviews, we'll talk more about that when we get to actual assignments, because in discussion boards, probably not really useful. And then the assign. So the first thing you have here is who it assigns to. So it defaults to everyone. So everybody who's in that class that's a student is going to get this assigned to them. If you have different sections of the class, or you've manually made different sections of the class, you can filter it down by there. Again, if this were a class where I had all of my hours combined into one, I would be able to see, instead of just row sandbox, it might be row sandbox 1 and row sandbox 2 and row sandbox 7, whatever hours I have them. So for modified block days, this would be a good way so that all of your Wednesday classes, it's set to be due on Wednesday. All your Thursday classes, it could be set to be due on Thursday. So if you wanted to pick, let's say it was your first hour, then you could click the add button down here, and now you have a different assign to. So then you could do that for your second or your third hour, or so on and so forth. But we're going to leave it for everyone. Due date, mark when it's due. I'm going to make it due on the 31st. And then you've got available from and until. If you leave these blank, the instant you hit publish, students are going to be able to get into it, and they'll be able to get into it all semester long, or all year long, depending on how long your course is. If you want to limit that time, the available from, let's say I don't want people to access this until Monday. So I would click Monday. It defaults to midnight, and midnight means that morning. So January 29th at 11:59 p.m., they can't access it. 1 minute later, it's open. So if you wanted to change that maybe so that it's available at the beginning of the school day that day, you could type in manually 7:20. Make sure you make it AM, not PM. I've done that a few times. Hit done. And now on January 30th at 7:20 a.m., students will be able to access it. They'll be able to see that the actual discussion board is there, but they won't be able to see any details or anything about that until January 30th, let alone post replies. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. The until is the same thing. They have until that date, and then it locks them out of being able to get to it. So you could pick a date, you could pick a time. This one defaults to 11:59 p.m. For that evening. All right, so after you've got everything done, you can either save, or I'm going to go ahead and do save and publish just to do it all in one click of the button. And then students are going to see basically the same screen here, where it's going to look like this. So to reply to it, they'll hit the reply, and they'll have all of these options too. So they can put in links, they can put in videos, pictures, whatever it is that they want to do. So let's say there is no symbolism. I know if they're English teachers, they might be crawling in their skin, but I don't remember it well enough to do anything. So I'm going to hit post reply, and then boom, it's there. So from this point, this student here, this Tyler Rowe, replied to the main board. Then other students will have two options now to reply to. They can either reply to the main one, where they'll click in here, and that'll reply that way. Or they can reply to this one, and they'll say, no, you're wrong. There is a lot of symbolism. And again, this would be more meaningful if it wasn't just one person having a conversation with themselves. So you can kind of see that because it's indented, the stuff's a little bit smaller, that this reply happened onto this person's thing. So but there's no way to reply to this one specifically. This reply box is still referring to this first one here. So the bottom of the reply, in this case, is going to go to whatever the main thing is up top. Now, if you wanted to open this up where a student could reply to this one, if we go back to edit, that's where that allow threaded replies is going to come into play. So we can allow threaded replies. So now when we go back to here, we're going to see a few more reply options. So now the replies are specifically on each individual person's. So let's reply back and say, I don't know, the sky is blue. Because we all have that random kid in class who's not going to read any of the directions. And so you can kind of follow through and see exactly who's replying to who based on the indentations. So again, that allow threaded replies will keep allowing that to go over and over farther to get you that more kind of rich discussion. Of course, at the same time, because there are more reply buttons, students are more likely to hit the wrong button, do the wrong thing. So have it based on what it is that you're wanting to do.